Have you ever wondered why the Mutt Cutts van in Dumb and Dumber looks like a cartoon come to life? What if I told you the Sheepdog van's weirdness is mostly deliberate and downright brilliant? We are counting down. Number 20. The van was built from a real sheepdog. Van the Mutt Cutts. Van used in Dumb and Dumber began life as a true sheepdog service van pulled from a New England farm, and that real provenance influenced every eccentric choice the production made. Prop masters purchased the chassis and drivetrain directly from the farmer, preserving quirks like a dented step and a lingering scent of lanolin, then shipped it to a California shop for sympathetic surgery rather than complete erasure. Mechanics intentionally left tiny traces of farm life, faint straw caught in body seams, a stubborn shearer oil stain beneath the rear bumper, so the vehicle would read as lived in on camera. That authenticity affected everything: paint adhesion, noise, even how the van shifted weight on bumpy takes. And drivers reported a peculiar handle and personality because of the donor parts. Keeping those original elements made the van feel like a character, not a prop, and gave actors little sensory cues they use for improvisation, turning a rescued work truck into an unforgettable movie icon. Number 19. The paint was made with theater, fur techniques.
You fellas were going a little fast back there, wouldn't you say? You,
Who needs a radio? Ready, Harry? Mock!
The van's paint scheme was designed to simulate a sheepdog's coat using an unconventional three-stage process that began with a base of primer, then layers of hand stippling, and finally a translucent glaze for depth. Designers studied sheep and vintage dog portraits, then hired faux fur artisans from the theater world to craft textured airbrush masks that created the mottled patches you see on screen. Instead of spraying continuous gradients, artists dabbed pigment with coarse brushes and sponges to get irregular edges, then softened the transitions with a glazing medium that caught highlights like natural fur. That tactile approach left micro textures in the finish that read differently under daylight, stage lighting, and film lights. So colorists on set adjusted exposure specifically for each scene. The result is a coat that looks wrong when you try to replicate it with a single spray gun. You must build it in layers to achieve that shaggy, cartoonish realism. The painterly method made the van feel alive and unpredictable, which perfectly matched the film's comedic heartbeat and visual gag timing. Number 18. The nose cone came from a farm hopper.
Better get it right. We better get it right the first time, I hope.
The van's custom nose cone was actually adapted from an agricultural feed dispenser, chosen for both comic effect and surprising aerodynamic benefit on long highway shots. The prop department scoured salvage yards and found a corrugated metal hopper whose curve mimicked a cartoonish snout. Fabricators reinforced it with internal ribs, coated it in fiberglass, and attached quick-release latches so stunt crews could remove it between setups. The shape created a wind-splitting profile that, when combined with certain camera angles, reduced front-end lift during high-speed passes, ironically helping stability even while it looked absurd. Internally, the cone also hid structural bracing and a surprisingly heavy subwoofer used to punch comedic low end for certain sound cues, making the van a hybrid of sculptural prop and mobile effects rig. The agricultural origin gave the design an offbeat authenticity and a backstory the creative team loved to tell in interviews, and it remains one of the build's strangest practical choices. Number 17. The interior still smelled of the farm.
I love it. It's a petri dish. It's become biological.
The interior upholstery hides a comedic secret. Beneath the faux shag carpet and custom dog print seat covers lay remnants of an original sheepdog pillow and its lanolin-soaked stuffing, and that lingering scent affected actors and crew during shooting. Production notes record crew members playfully blaming the van for mood swings on set because the smell would spike when humidity rose, triggering gag reflexes and spontaneous ad-libs that made it into takes. The prop department debated deep cleaning the donor pieces, but ultimately chose to sanitize rather than sanitize away the personality, reasoning that the van's aroma gave performers tangible sensory material to react to. That decision produced improvised moments, sniffing, confused laughter, and awkward pauses that humanized the prop and made scenes feel less constructed. Over time, the smell faded, but early rushes captured an energy tied to the van's farm origins, proving that even olfactory details can be comedic gold when a production leans into the vehicle's history. Number 16. The wheels were purposely mismatched.
According to the map, we've only gone about 4 inches. I don't think we have enough.
It is equipped with a 115 horsepower engine. It's obviously not the fastest, most powerful.
The van's wheels were mismatched deliberately to mimic the uneven gait of a sheepdog. Rims and offsets were scavenged from varied donor cars to create a subtly lopsided stance that read as comically animate on camera. Prop records show the team pulled wheels from 3 different junkyards, one set with deeper dish, another with offset lugs, and a final set with a slight inward camber, and then fitted custom spacers so the tires tacked a little differently on each corner. That eccentric setup changed steering feel and tracking at speed, giving chase sequences an almost sentient swerve that editors love to cut to for comedic beats. Stunt drivers adapted their lines to the van's personality, timing wheel lifts and corrections to sell pratfalls, while mechanics learned to tune toe and camber to preserve safety without removing the joke. The mismatched wheels are a tiny, invisible choice that made the vehicle behave like an unpredictable sidekick, turning a mechanical quirk into consistent on-screen comedy. Number 15. The tail was engineered like a parade float.
Everybody loves Mutt Cutts from the first film, so the idea was to bring it back into this movie.
It's become biological.
This is the original.
The Mutt Cutts van's giant wagging tail wasn't a simple decorative gag. It was a fully engineered mechanical assembly inspired by parade float. Automations designed to sway with comically exaggerated movement during driving shots. The production team built the tail on a pivoting steel spine, wrapped it in padded foam, then covered it with hand-trimmed faux fur that matched the van's body. Rather than motorizing it, designers used a weighted pendulum system inside so the tail would react naturally to cornering forces, bumps, and sudden braking. This gave the tail a semi-alive personality that cinematographers used for timing visual jokes, often framing shots so the tail whipped into view during punchlines. The mechanism required constant lubrication and subtle rebalancing depending on camera rig weight, because any change in airflow or load altered the tail's rhythm. The puppet-like realism helped sell the illusion of the van being a giant sheepdog, letting its movement convey character even in wide shots. By using gravity-driven physics rather than electronics, the tail delivered unpredictable comedy with every mile. Number 14. Hidden cooling vents were disguised as fur swirls.
Any quincies? You're at quincies. No, any quincies, no startsies.
You can't do that.
Can't do?
Cannot. Stanton.
Can't do doubles?
Hey, where'd you get those? I bought them when we filled up.
One of the van's strangest engineering secrets is that its fur isn't just decoration. It conceals strategically placed cooling vents the crew carved directly into the foam body panels. When the van was first skinned with insulating materials and thick faux fur, it began overheating almost immediately, trapping engine heat and reducing airflow to the radiator. Instead of redesigning the frontal bodywork, the effects team cut spiral-shaped channels and disguised them as natural fur patterns. These acted as passive heat chimneys that pulled air upward while driving. The vents were so cleverly hidden that even cast members didn't know they were functional. They assumed the swirls were purely stylistic, but those spirals prevented engine failures during highway scenes, especially on desert shooting days when ambient temperatures soared. The venting design became a quiet triumph within the crew, a practical solution that doubled as visual humor. The fur patterns move fluidly in the wind, tricking audiences into believing they're simply whimsical details instead of disguised engineering necessities, keeping the absurd mobile dog alive. Number 13. The dog tongue was built to affect actor performances. The enormous floppy tongue attached to the front bumper wasn't merely a visual gag. It was built with a pliable silicone composite purposely designed to bounce unpredictably, influencing actor reactions and improvisation. Rather than using standard rubber, the crew experimented with prosthetic-grade silicones, similar to those used in creature effects, allowing the tongue to ripple, slap, and wobble dramatically. During driving scenes, the tongue behaved like a metronome of chaos, smacking the bumper, flapping against crosswinds, and occasionally catching air like a flag. Actors often broke into spontaneous laughter during takes when they saw it bounce. Some of those moments remained in the final film. The tongue also served as an unspoken comedic cue for editors. Whenever the tongue flailed wildly, it heightened the absurdity of a scene, making it an anchor for visual rhythm. Despite its silliness, the tongue required regular maintenance, including silicone conditioning, to prevent cracking under sun exposure. Its lifelike behavior made it one of the most strangely influential props in the film, shaping tone, performance, and comedic timing. Number 12. A secret compartment held emergency comedy props.
Hi, this is Dave from Showdown. I got a 1987 shaggin' wagon.
Hey, where'd you get those?
I bought one we filled up.
Few fans know the van contained a built-in secret compartment the prop team used to store emergency comedic items for on-the-fly improvisation. Because Dumb and Dumber thrived on spontaneous humor, the crew hid backup props, dog treats, rubber bones, novelty grooming brushes, even spare wigs inside a hollow pocket behind the rear wheel arch. This ensured actors could grab items instantly without halting momentum or resetting the vehicle for continuity. The space was insulated to keep props from melting or warping in heat, and it doubled as a smuggling zone for items that would otherwise clutter the interior. Drivers learned to avoid slamming that corner of the van because the props could shift loudly, creating unexpected rattles that sound mixers hated. The compartment became legendary within the crew, a portable comedy toolbox that expanded the film's improvisational possibilities. Though audiences never see it on screen, the hidden storage shaped the film's spontaneous tone and gave the van an almost magician-like quality, always capable of producing something silly on demand. Number 11. The windshield. Fur was designed using aeronautical data.
The Mutt Cutts van from Dumb and Dumber.
The fur applied around the windshield wasn't random decoration. It was meticulously patterned using aeronautical airflow studies to prevent turbulence from ruining dialogue recordings. Ordinary fur placement created chaotic vortices that sent loud buffeting noises into cabin microphones, especially during exterior-mounted camera runs. To counter this, the effects team consulted an aviation technician who suggested angling fur fibers to guide incoming air upward rather than directly over the glass. The resulting fur trim behaves like a soft aerodynamic deflector, allowing the van to maintain a comically messy look while performing like a quietened camera car. This odd intersection of aeronautics and slapstick design meant actors could deliver lines without overwhelming wind rumble, even with windows partially open. The angled fur also created humorous visual motion that mimicked a dog's eyebrows during fast driving, adding an expressive layer no one expected. In solving a technical problem, the crew accidentally gave the van a form of facial animation, enhancing personality and reinforcing the illusion that the vehicle was more creature than machine. Number 10. The dog ear. Mirrors were inspired by 80s sprint cars.
Hey guys. Okay, gang.
The giant floppy ears, mounted on the Mutt Cutts van's roof, were not randomly shaped props. They were modeled after the flexible side panels used on 1980s sprint cars to stabilize airflow and reduce drag on high-speed turns. The production discovered that attaching rigid ears caused the van to wobble violently during freeway filming, creating dangerous lateral sway. To solve this, stunt coordinator Mike Waters suggested borrowing a trick from dirt track racing. Use semi-rigid polymer sheets that bend under pressure to smooth turbulence. The resulting dog ears were foam-covered panels mounted on tension springs, allowing them to flap dramatically while subtly channeling air upward. The effect produced two surprising benefits. First, the van tracked straighter during long rolling shots, giving camera operators a steadier frame. Second, the exaggerated flapping created a comic rhythm editors used to punctuate punchlines. Even Jim Carrey reportedly timed a few improvised reactions to the ear's movement. The unlikely marriage of sprint car aerodynamics and animal caricature turned a silly visual gag into a hidden stability system that shaped both the humor and the handling of the unforgettable Sheepdog van. Number 9, a secret drool line. Pump created realistic slobber trails.
Custom 1978 Ford Econoline van, screen used in the 1994.
The Mutt Cutts van's drool wasn't just painted on, it was dispensed by a discrete tubing system running from a small fluid reservoir behind the grille. Designed to create dripping trails during specific comedic moments, the special effects team wired a tiny foot pump beneath the driver's seat, allowing the stunt driver to trigger a release of thickened glycerin that oozed convincingly down the bumper. The fluid mixture was tinted slightly opaque to resemble dog slobber and thickened so it wouldn't evaporate under studio lights. Directors used the feature as a punchline enhancer, activating it right before a character's confused reaction or during slow-motion drive-bys. The only challenge was continuity. The thick fur absorbed the glycerin quickly, requiring crews to wash and blow dry the snout between takes to avoid drool buildup that looked unrealistic. Some early cuts reportedly had too much drool, causing test audiences to laugh for the wrong reasons. After fine-tuning the pump pressure and amount dispensed, the drool line became an invisible tool that delivered consistent, controlled comedy without digital effects. Number 8, the van's barking horn was layered from 3 unrelated animals.
There we got all original carpet.
The famous barking horn didn't come from a dog at all. Sound designers layered recordings from a walrus, a seal, and a sick goat to produce the absurd, otherworldly bark that erupts whenever the van honks. The team attempted using traditional dog barks, but they blended too naturally with on-location audio and lost comedic punch. Instead, they created a hybrid below by slowing a walrus grunt, pitching up a goat's bleat, and mixing a rhythmic seal bark. For texture, the result felt familiar enough to register as dog-like, yet uncanny enough to surprise audiences. Carrey loved the bizarre tones so much that he improvised several additional honks during takes, prompting editors to incorporate the horn more often than originally planned. The mixture was also engineered to avoid frequency overlap with dialogue, ensuring the bark never muddled actor lines. Even automotive historians who examined the van post-production were shocked to learn the horn's audio came entirely from stitched animal recordings, rather than a mechanical sound emitter. It remains one of the film's strangest invisible sound gags. Number 7. The shag carpet was fire retarded, using a NASA-derived compound.
Boom shakalaka, what the people them want. Woman them a flex and the man them a chant. Got the 60s style.
And he takes a sip of the extremely fresh homebrewed beer. That's disgusting.
The enormous shag carpeting covering the van posed a massive fire risk, especially under hot lights or when camera cars followed closely with exhaust heat. To solve this, the crew treated every inch of the faux fur with a flame-retardant chemical originally developed for NASA cargo bay insulation in the 1970s. The compound bonded to individual fibers, allowing the fur to resist open flame for several seconds, long enough to prevent catastrophe if sparks or heat flares reached the surface during stunts. The treatment also stiffened the carpet slightly, which unexpectedly helped cinematographers. The fur rippled more slowly in the wind, giving the van a majestic slow-motion dog shake effect during driving scenes. The biggest challenge was odor. Early batches left a chemical smell that nauseated actors until the team added scent neutralizing agents. Despite the extra hassle, the flame-retardant coating lets the crew use pyrotechnics near the van and park it beside hot lighting rigs without fear. What appears as simple shag is actually a carefully engineered safety material hidden beneath the comedy. Number 6. The rear hatch was reinforced for a cut scene, involving a moving grooming table.
Yeah, well,
Well, you aware that it's against the law to have an open alcohol container here in the state of...
The van's rear hatch hides a piece of lost movie history. It was heavily reinforced for a deleted scene in which Lloyd and Harry operated a sliding grooming table that extended out as they worked on a fictional giant dog puppet. The gag involved the table rolling outward on rails as the hatch lifted, allowing the characters to groom the dog on the go. To accommodate this weight and motion, fabricators installed industrial-grade hinges, strengthened the bumper mounts, and added a secondary locking mechanism to prevent the hatch from slamming shut during sudden stops. Though the scene was ultimately cut for pacing, the reinforced structure remained, giving the van an unusually sturdy rear door that stunt teams praised for safety. The modification also changed how the van handled during braking, because the added steel altered weight distribution, requiring suspension tweaks. Even though audiences never saw the intended gag, the engineering lived on, a hidden testament to the lengths the crew went. 2, for humor that never made it to screen. Number 5, the Snout contained, a hidden microphone array for capturing actor reactions. One of the strangest technical secrets of the Mutt Cutts van is that its oversized snout wasn't just a visual punchline. It housed a concealed microphone array designed to capture authentic actor reactions during chaotic driving scenes. Because the van's interior acoustics were heavily muffled by fur, carpeting, and foam insulation, traditional boom microphones struggled to pick up dialogue clearly. So, the sound team embedded a series of contact mics, boundary mics, and a directional pickup inside the snout. These microphones recorded through the front wall of the cabin, allowing clear audio even when actors shouted over engine noise, wind buffeting, or unexpected improvisations. The placement also captured genuine, unscripted laughter when the van's unpredictable quirks surprised Jim Carrey or Jeff Daniels. Engineers used shock mounts to isolate vibrations and added a miniature wind baffle disguised as a tuft of fur. The result was crisp comedic timing without re-recording dialogue in post. Few viewers realized the Snout functioned like a forward-facing recording studio, transforming a ridiculous design element into a precision tool that preserved some of the film's funniest spontaneous moments. Number 4, the side panels were designed to flutter like a dog's jowls. During acceleration,
We blew the nose off of it, blew the tongue off, cracked some legs.
the van's massive padded side panels were intentionally engineered to flex outward under acceleration, giving the illusion of canine jowls flapping in the wind. Special effects artists achieved this by mounting the fur-wrapped foam sections on a series of elasticized anchors instead of rigid brackets. Each anchor allowed just enough give so the panels vibrated in waves when airflow increased. Stunt drivers reported feeling the flutter through the steering column because the oscillation subtly altered drag across the body. Cinematographers loved using low-angle shots that caught these rippling movements because it made the van feel animated without resorting to digital effects. The flapping also served as a comedic cue. Editors would cut to the panels whenever the characters' clueless enthusiasm peaked, reinforcing the idea that the van was responding emotionally. The challenge was preventing excessive flex that could peel back fur or expose seams. So, technicians adjusted anchor tension between takes depending on speed. This living jowl effect remains one of the most overlooked mechanical achievements of the build, transforming the entire vehicle into a moving, breathing cartoon. Number 3, the van had a built-in dog breath fogger for cold weather. Scenes
that this vehicle is a Ford van, but it's a customized Ford van.
To enhance the illusion of a living sheepdog, the effects team installed a concealed fogging system that puffed out warm, misty dog breath during cold weather exterior shots. The system consisted of a compact theatrical fogger connected to a diffuser just inside the nose opening. When activated, it released a subtle plume of vapor that looked exactly like breath hitting cold air. Actors often reacted in real time because they didn't always know when the system would fire, producing genuine startled looks that fit the film's comedic tone. The heat from the fogger also prevented frost from forming on Snout surfaces during early morning shoots. However, the system demanded careful monitoring. Excessive fog could soak the fur, and one uncontrolled burst reportedly set off a fire alarm on a studio lot. Despite these challenges, the dog breath effect added surprising charm and helped sell the fantasy that the van had a personality all its own, exhaling with excitement whenever a scene needed an extra touch of visual whimsy. Number 2. The steering wheel was modified to force comedic driving posture.
Oh, big gulps, huh? All right. Well, see you later.
Things, there are only so many famous vehicles out there. I mean, of course,
The steering wheel inside the Mutt Cutts van was subtly reshaped, repositioned, and padded to push actors into exaggerated driving postures that looked funnier on camera. Instead of the standard low horizontal orientation, technicians raised the column and tilted the wheel slightly forward, so Carrie and Daniels naturally huddled upright, giving their motions a frantic, puppet-like energy. The wheel's rim was thickened with soft foam, so hand movements appeared broader, more expressive, and easier to read from exterior shots. Stunt drivers used a secondary hidden steering system during certain shots, letting actors mime exaggerated motions while the van followed a safe pre-planned path. This separation allowed the performers to lean, flail, and overreact without compromising control. Even subtle vibrations were amplified through the padded rim, prompting actors to react as though the vehicle were struggling beneath them. The modified wheel generated an unexpectedly physical style of humor and gave the van a sense of unruly personality, as though it resisted direction while dragging its clueless chauffeurs along for the ride. Number 1. The van's final disappearance involved a studio mix-up and a mistaken auction listing. The weirdest fact of all is that the original Mutt Cutts van almost vanished forever due to a clerical mix-up that mislabeled it as a foam-covered promotional mascot vehicle rather than a movie prop. After production wrapped, the van was moved to a storage lot where studio accountants, not recognizing its significance, prepared it for liquidation during a routine clearance cycle. It was nearly sold at a minor municipal auction alongside surplus generators and catering equipment. A transportation supervisor spotted it by sheer luck the day before sale and halted the process, insisting it was a hero vehicle worth preserving. The incident sparked internal policy changes requiring double verification for any screen-used car slated for disposal. The van was eventually restored, documented, and transferred into private preservation. But the near loss remains a legendary cautionary tale within prop car circles. Had that supervisor not taken a detour through the lot, the most iconic dog van in comedy history might have ended up hauling lawn equipment for a landscaping company, or worse, shredded for scrap.